An active afternoon here with some showers and storms that moved right through the city of Atlanta, and some of those storms turned severe. We had a severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for parts of southern Cobb and central Fulton County right before 6 o'clock and through about 6:30. So right during our 6 p.m. newscast, that's when we had the heaviest of the rain moving through the city. At times we had winds of around 60 miles an hour or greater. Heavy rain, intense lightning with that. But then as it moved over to the east, it somewhat held together, but it lost its severe characteristics, and they allowed that severe thunderstorm warning to expire at 6:30. And then you can see this is what pulsed up right there over on the west side a little bit earlier. And then it drifted on over to the east, and then it started to fall apart. Then other storms developed over to the east of us near Athens. Look at these showers drifting down to the south here. Those just ramped up within the past hour or so, and now they are showing signs of some weakening as well. The main threats with that still over to the east of us out I-20 is mainly just heavy rain. The winds are less than 30 miles an hour with that. Some breezes with it, but just not anywhere near what we would classify as severe storms. Watch right here. All right, boom, right there. That was that cell that just really pulsed up there on the west side of the perimeter and then moved through Atlanta earlier, and that's what prompted that severe thunderstorm warning that we had again during the 6 o'clock hour there. We had some other showers around in West Georgia, and there again you can see those showers and storms over to the east of us. In fact, this is where the heaviest action is right now. You can see how this one pulsed up in northern parts of Morgan County, southern Oconee County, over into parts of Greene County with that heavy rain, and there was a lot of intense lightning with that too. Still so that lightning moving over closer to Crawfordville, but that lightning count is coming down a little bit, and that storm over on the east side is showing some signs of weakening. But still, you know, this late night hour, the sun went down around 8:17 tonight was around sunset, or is it 8:14 now? I'll need to check that sunset time, but it is setting a little bit earlier. And we're losing some of the heating of the day, so things are calming down over on the east side. We have about 26 lightning strikes with this system in the past 15 minutes. That is pretty much cut in half. Just about 10 minutes ago, we had 52 lightning strikes in the 15-minute period. So that is showing those signs of weakening. The rain, the red and oranges that we're seeing there with our Doppler radar indicating where we have the heavy rain, that's shrinking up a little bit, and the lightning count is also coming down. So not quite as intense as it was a little earlier. And in North Georgia, you know, we had a pretty good coverage of showers and storms in parts of northeast Georgia earlier. That moved down along the I-85 corridor. And then that's what enhanced those showers and storms from Athens down to the south a little bit earlier. We've also had a few showers we were watching over near Dalton and pushing through Calhoun. The ones that came through Calhoun moved into Bartow County, and then they fell apart. These at Dalton started to fall apart moving into the Gordon County area. And then on the south side, again, we've been watching some of those showers and storms. We've had some over south and west of us a little earlier. Those have been pushing down to the south. As they die out, other ones will develop ahead of it, and now everything's pushing on away down into parts of Taylor County there near Butler, Georgia, and pushing away from us. So we're just going to watch these, what's lingering out there right now. These showers and storms will be diminishing through the rest of the evening hours tonight. Just these on the east side are the only ones holding on, but they will be falling apart. We also have a few more showers down in parts of central Georgia, middle Georgia there, down into South Georgia, along the Georgia coast too, and that's going to be fading out tonight too. All right, Erin is leaving, finally pulling away from the U.S. coastline. It came up like this earlier, and, you know, was relatively close to the North Carolina coast. We never anticipated a landfalling eye with this, but some of the outer bands did come by the Outer Banks, causing some issues there with not only rough surf, but also some roads covered in overwash there along the Outer Banks too. And then we had the high winds as well, and some of those gusty winds, tropical storm force winds there. Some of those winds went up to the Virginia coast there in the mid-Atlantic, and even some of the outer bands did too. But everything is pulling away now. Still rough surf is possible in those areas in the mid-Atlantic region as the center of Erin moves away, and it's going to be taking those outer bands with it too. But still, the flow around that will enhance the potential for some rough surf that'll be there. Here is a live look right now into DeKalb County where you see a nice sky. We still have some clouds around. The sun went down a little bit earlier. Still, excuse me, a little bit of color left in the sky from the sunshine as it's been down there for just a little while, but still some of that light emanating up in those clouds from below the horizon there and the curvature of the earth. Here is another view. This is our tower cam at Truist Park. The Braves are off tonight, but still some clouds here. We had some rain around Truist Park earlier, and it was on the west side and just south of Truist Park where that storm really fired up that caused that severe thunderstorm warning earlier. And then in Atlanta, we had heavy rain that came through earlier in the downtown area. This is a live view from our tower cam here at Georgia Tech, where you can see over the stadium here and then looking over the downtown buildings where visibility is good, no rain down there now, but it's still kind of a muggy, steamy night out there too. Here is what we're watching right now with Hurricane Erin. The system is pulling away. Max winds, though, still at about 100 miles an hour. That is a Category 2 hurricane. But as you can see, as it moves away, this system has no impact on what we're dealing with here. And we're even seeing some improvements in the surf conditions along the Georgia coast. I'll show you a little bit more about that coming up here in just a second. But you can see how the storm is moving away, and it's actually starting to go a little faster. It's moving to the northeast at 20 miles an hour. So that's going to take that eye away a little bit faster. And you'll notice here that it is moving to the north and east. So remember when it was coming in, and some people didn't want to believe the models and didn't want to believe what we were showing that the models were saying, that it would curve away. And a lot of people were insisting on social media, nope, it's not going to curve, it's going to come right into the U.S. coastline. Well, it did curve, and here's a look at that. Not only did it curve from the northwest to the north, now it's going northeast and staying away from us. We do have a tropical storm warning in effect for Bermuda, as they still, in some of those outer bands, may have some of those impacts of some tropical storm force winds that are moving through there too. Now, we've been showing you this map over the past couple of nights to show you what the far-reaching impacts of the rough surf, stretching from Miami in Florida all the way up the coast of Florida, and it was including the entire Georgia coast where we had a high surf advisory with a rip current danger. But now it's only the southern part of the Georgia coast down into Florida. The advisory that was in effect for this area from Savannah a little bit to the south and then the South Carolina coast, that has expired. Now, it's still going to be a little rough out there, but it's not as high as it was earlier. Then when you get up here to North Carolina, you still see this tropical storm warning here that extends up to New Jersey. And then, of course, they have those high surf advisories going up toward the New York area, too. They're still dealing with some winds on the back side of this system. There's the center of the storm there. That's where we have the highest winds. And even though the system is pulling away, it is still very large with those hurricane force winds extending more than 100 miles out from the center. The tropical storm force winds extending around 300 miles out from the center too. So we still have the winds that they're dealing with, not quite tropical storm force winds. Those are going to be diminishing, even if they do have some of those gusts that are tropical storm force. But watch how it pulls away. Those reds and oranges go with it, and that's going to take those strongest winds out of our area. And the waves have also been an issue. Now, we still might have some rough surf and some waves there down along the Georgia coast of that blue color. But see the greens here indicating waves of 15 feet or higher? That is going to begin to pull away. Watch the back edge of that green. See that moving away from everybody there along the northeast coast. So improvements coming now as Erin is going to be pulling away, and then things will hopefully calm down a bit here along the Atlantic coastline, because it's been a very active past few days. Here again is a look at that tropical storm warning. That it still extends up, but that will most likely be dropped a little bit later on tonight. And there's the storm going from a Category 2 hurricane back to Category 1, and then slowly losing its tropical characteristics and becoming a remnant low, even at hurricane force winds, but not classified as a hurricane. It'll be a post-tropical system as it moves up toward the north and also to the east. So the good news is it's getting away from us. Even Bermuda here, again, I mentioned it's kind of shaded in blue there because they have a tropical storm warning in effect. They, for a while, may feel some of those tropical storm force winds. Now, we have these other areas to watch too, and the percentages are coming up with these. This is one out in the central Atlantic that has a 60 to 80% chance of developing into a tropical depression or a tropical storm. But all the modeling is showing that it's going to be curving away and most likely is going to be a fish storm as well. And it might move into an environment that's a little less conducive for development there. And then, of course, we have, well, this is a new one that came up around 2 o'clock today. It's a really low risk of developing at only about 20%, and we're not worried about that. That is moving away. Here's the one that was coming off the coast of Africa, now in the eastern Atlantic. It has a 50% chance of developing over the next 2 to 7 days. The models are not in agreement on this. It may also be moving into an environment that's less conducive for development here. Here's a look at the spaghetti models. And again, the models are having a hard time dealing with it. Some show it falling apart before it even gets near the Leeward Islands. Some of the models show this moving into the Caribbean. So we still don't have any confidence on what these models are saying here until we see that system develop a little bit more, and then we'll be able to hopefully fine-tune that direction and the strength of it, if it even is going to even hold together there, because as we mentioned, a lot of the models are not really in agreement on where they think it's going to go. High today was 92 degrees. That was pretty hot. At one point, when we were checking our heat index, the heat index was above 100 at 101 a little bit earlier. I think that was at the 3 or 4 o'clock hour when we saw that. Our low this morning was 71 degrees. Now, I know a lot of folks had rain. We had heavy rain inside the perimeter and rain near the airport, but the airport officially picked up nothing today. We are running about 1/4 of an inch above where we should be in rainfall. So even after all that rain that we had in Atlanta, in the downtown area, just a few miles down the road, the airport didn't get anything to add to the official rain bucket there. Here's a look at the temperatures, low 70s there this morning. We did bump up to 92 today. Then the rain started coming in and the clouds started building in. Then we dropped to 82 and then 79, and we've been holding in the 70s. So that's a big drop to go from 92 to 10 degrees lower, and then even lower than that with that rain-cooled air that came in. And right now, it's still kind of muggy out there. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 70s, 75 here in town. A lot of mid-70s in some of the outlying areas. Lower 70s, though, in Gainesville, Lawrenceville, and Athens. That's because that rain that we're tracking over on the east side kind of cooled things off there a little bit more. Highs tomorrow holding in the mid-80s. Thanks to the additional cloud cover and thanks to some of the showers that'll be moving our way. It will not be into the lower 90s once again. Forecast track shows things calming down tonight, and then tomorrow morning we are going to be dry at lunchtime, and then in the afternoon we're going to see more of these scattered showers redeveloping, about a 50% chance tomorrow. And then on Saturday, even in the morning hours, there may be a few spotty showers around. We don't think it's going to rain all day long, but at any time during the day Saturday, we can see some of those showers developing, but it'll be off and on during the day, dry hours in between. Then on Sunday, a dry start into the afternoon, just a couple of spotty showers, rain chances coming down a little bit Sunday to 30 to 40% from 50% on Friday and Saturday. Then the drier air coming in next week. Speaking of dry air, look at the moisture map. The orange and yellow colors show that very moist air that we have in our area that's sticking with us the next few days, and Saturday and also Sunday. Then on Monday, notice the blue color trying to come in. That's drier air. Humidity is going to lower a bit. Same thing coming into Tuesday. And then look at this. That drier air really starts to dive into our direction. That lower humidity is going to give us a nice refreshing feel to the air. It's just not going to be as muggy or as oppressive out there. And the actual temperatures are coming down too. We're going to be at 84 Friday, 82 on Saturday. Then our temperatures on Sunday at 84. Up a little bit on Monday to 87. So there you can see the rain chances there. That's what's helping to bring these temperatures down with extra clouds and the rain. That's why we don't think we'll make it into the 90s. It'll generally be in the 80s. Then on Monday, we start to dry out a little bit, meaning no rain, and also the lower humidity is going to be coming in. So that's going to give us that nicer feel to the air. Lows on Monday morning around 69 and a high of 87. Then Cooler mornings. We're talking low to mid 60s here for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And afternoon highs generally there in the lower 80s. 83 Tuesday, 82 Wednesday, and 81 on Thursday. We are including a 20% chance for a shower on Thursday, but that's going to be highly dependent on whether any additional moisture is going to be able to move in here to give us just that low risk for a couple of isolated showers that could pop up on Thursday. So next week, the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I think you're going to love it. Not only because it's not going to rain, but because those humidity levels are going to be lower and it's going to feel nicer along with those cooler temperatures that'll be pushing into our area. Thanks for joining us for this extended weather outlook here on 11 Alive Plus and Weather Impact 24/7. We'll have another update tonight at 11 on 11 Alive News. We'll have that here streaming for you, plus more updates throughout the day on Friday and also leading into your weekend. We hope you have a great night.